What's up, brewskis? My name is Marco Dupa. With me, as always, the great and powerful Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
What's up, yo?
Tonight's brew is from Escape Brewing Company. It's their other West Coast. Obi's going to have a little bit more about that after the break. What's on tap for tonight? Big nerd news. Big nerd news. Big nerd news. Dr. Doom is being put into this this MCU, this multiverse of madness.
We did that already.
What?
Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, wait. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's been done before.
Yeah.
Well, it's the multiverse, so it can be done again and
Sure.
again and again. And in that vein,
Yeah.
guess who's playing him?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Nope.
Ooh. Robert De Niro.
No. Good choice though. Yeah. Another Robert.
Robert Downey Jr.
No. Oh, yes. Actually, they are paying the guy to come back again and play Victor Von Doom. So we're going to talk about the reaction to that and give our reaction to that.
Yes.
What else we got?
We also have, in other Marvel news, a great success
A great success.
of Deadpool being the number one R-rated opening weekend of all time.
Huge.
We made some predictions about Deadpool ahead of it coming out.
I think we were right critically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I don't want to pat myself in the back too hard, but you know. But yeah, it's a huge success. But has also been on sort of the cusp of this weird satanic panic. That and the Olympics have caused, for some reason, us to go to the Dark Ages.
Absolutely strange.
Or at very least the 80s.
I don't. So we're gonna talk about that and maybe some more stuff. We'll find out. We'll see where we go. But we can't go anywhere until we get into this show proper. So without further ado, this is episode 434 of the One Beer In Podcast.
Echoes.
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes,
Titty jam.
when it's bright
Oh,
out,
jam.
so bored when
Titty
it's
jam.
Oh, jam.
I like to scrape out some titty jam.
Let me get some of that titty jam.
Put it in a jar, save it for later. I like to. I had to scrape out some titty jam. Put it in a jar, save it for later. Spread it on my toast. Yeah, make
Girl,
make
give
a
me some of that
sandwich
titty
it.
jam.
Put that titty jam on a brioche bun. Yeah. Put it on the stove with some olive oil. Maybe some balsamic vinaigrette and some titty jam.
You sounded Cajun there for a second.
Some
Oh,
balsamic
vinaigrette.
Or some vinaigrette. We're going to have it for a crab ball.
Oh,
Use the titty jam to make a crab ball.
The secret's in the titty jam.
You want to know what the secret ingredient is? It's titty jam. All right, this is the One Beer In Podcast, the podcast where two brews crack open a brew and we see where that one brew takes us. My name is Marco. That's Adam.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's rock and roll. Obi, you got a little bit more about what we're drinking tonight?
I am pulling it up as we speak because I just realized we don't have a cold read on this guy. But according to escapebrewingcompany.com, the other West Coast is an IPA at 7.2% ABV with Centennial, Mosaic, and Citra hops. Aggressively hopped with Centennial, Mosaic, and Citra to create tropical fruit flavors complemented by subtle citrus and stone fruit notes.
Aggressively hopped.
It won the gold medal in 2016 and 2018 Best Florida Beer Competition IPA category.
Oh, nice.
So props
Best
to
Florida beer.
Escape Brewing Company, which is where is this?
Dude, I have no idea.
Trinity, Florida. I've never heard of Trinity, Florida.
No clue. I don't know how it...
I assume it's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
based on the name.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, where are you guys? Yeah, I was right. Not far from Clearwater, just north of Clearwater. And
Yeah,
in
that
the
means
Tampa
anything.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
there you go.
Yeah. I
Shout
don't know how
out.
they're distroing their beers so far.
I was gonna say I've never heard of them before, but
yeah. Escape.
you know.
Escape.
cheers to you guys.
Good for them.
Yeah. Always happy to try a new brewery.
Forgot to mention last week when I was talking about Tampa. There's a brewery we went to
Brewery.
called Anecdote, and it was a really good brewery. So I just wanted to shout them out because they had some good stuff, some interesting stuff for being a beach town brewery.
Sure.
They really kind of like leaned into that, and they had a Kolsch that was like melon and something else. And they had like some pretty good sours,
Beachy beers.
some beachy beers.
Nice.
Yeah. So shout out to them.
Cool.
Shout out to Anecdote.
Anecdote. Brewing.
We're running out of names. All right, let's get into this. Let's rock and roll. Okay, Dr. Doom first. Yes.
Sure.
All right. So, what was it? Comic-Con?
San Diego
Comic-Con.
yeah.
Okay, so the big one.
Yeah.
The big one. The big
Yep.
nerd fest of all time. The biggest nerd fest of all time. The San Diego Comic-Con. The con of all cons. Marvel had their big release thing where they talk about the
future.
All their movies that are coming out.
Yeah.
And two huge things were announced. I won't leave you guys in suspense. The Russo brothers are back to direct the next two Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Correct.
And Robert Downey Jr. has returned to play Victor Von Doom.
Yes.
So the reaction was swift when this was announced.
Mm-hmm.
They had this whole fun thing where a bunch of guys came out dressed as Doom.
Yeah.
And then the C parts. Robert Downey Jr. steps forward, and you can tell immediately that it's him, like
Yep.
his body language, and like you can just tell it's him.
Mm-hmm.
Takes the mask off. The crowd goes absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
And the internet had the exact opposite reaction. It was like a wet fart. It was like a balloon deflating. It was like the last balloon in a room full of deflated balloons.
Yeah.
The last one to deflate just was like a... It could have been fucking... I mean, Matt Nicholson was rumored to be the guy.
And people said, no way, you can't do that. He was already in the MCU.
Right.
And
right.
then.
And then... some people have said that it needed to be a Romani person because Victor Von Doom is Romani.
I get that, but at the same time, I feel like Doctor Doom was created in a time where obviously there was less sensitivity around cultures,
Right.
And I think they only made him Romani because they thought that
the name would make more sense to call him Victor Von Doom.
Exactly, and he's like creepy and like this other kind of character, outside of the American ideal of Captain America.
I mean, I'll say this: I haven't read any Victor Von Doom comics or Fantastic Four comics, so some people have. I've read some comments where some people say like it is intrinsic to who he is, but I think maybe that could be just like writers expanding on that later on to make him a more interesting, more fleshed out character.
Sure.
Which again, we talk about black characters needing to remain black because that is intrinsic to who they are. But that's also an outwardly thing, so as much as it is a cultural thing.
Sure.
So those characters need to remain that because that's part of that's how the world sees them. That is part of their culture. That's part of everything. So, I mean, in that same vein, I don't know if he truly is, if his stories truly do revolve around his ethnicity.
Yeah.
Then there is something to be said about that. I don't know, so I'm not even going to really
Right.
touch that. I just haven't read enough of his comics. To expand on that.
To be fair, same.
I just wanted to throw that out there because I've seen people talk about it. So,
grain of salt.
We just don't know enough about
Yes.
how much that is important to his character to speculate on
Yes.
that.
Even without reading a ton of comics that involve Doom, I still think he's one of the most interesting and like coolest design characters with the coolest powers and like all that stuff. Everything I know about the character, I'm like, I would love to see more of this character.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna see a whole lot more now.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. I kind of feel like this is going to be like a 2-movie run, and that's going to be it. I get the feeling that's the way it's going to go, because everything I've heard about Secret Wars, as far as the comic book storyline, is that it's essentially like the culmination of the multiverse. It's like every bit of the multiverse kind of comes together to fight, basically. So after that, I can only predict that we're going to have like a hard reset on the MCU, and we're going to simplify everything. It's going to go back to like essentially a factory reboot of this is now the universe, and this is what we're sticking to, you know, for the most part, at least. That's my theory.
I don't know about that.
We'll see. And, you know, I don't know if you saw this too, but there is a storyline about Tony Stark being Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
So it could be a thing where he's not actually Victor Von Doom, and he's actually Tony as Doctor Doom.
Yeah. Okay, so I did see that, and I saw a lot of people's reaction to that as well. How do we feel about it? We know how the internet feels, and I can tell you how the internet feels. I'll tell you after we tell you how we feel about
Okay.
it. What do you think of this casting?
I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
And I know it's a boring answer, but that's honestly how I feel about it. I love to see Robert Downey Jr. Any chance I have. I would rather him be in more like Nolan movies.
Yeah.
Moving forward and more. I mean, I hate to be snooty about it, but like artistic films. But the fact that we're getting more of him in the MCU, like, not going to sniff at. I'm glad that he's not coming back as Iron Man, because I feel like it is way too soon for that.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've seen all these people saying like, oh, it's, you know, not to jump ahead too far, but Deadpool and Wolverine, oh, it cheapens Logan. Oh, you know, like, essentially having the deaths not matter in MCU movies, and other people saying, welcome to comic books, my friend.
Yeah.
That's how it works. It's like wrestling, you know, like people come back from the dead all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just part of the game. You have to do it smart, you know, you have to make it make sense and make it valuable, but that's just kind of the way it goes. All that being said, I'm glad that we're seeing him again, but in a different role. I think it's interesting to now see him play a villain. I hope he goes like full Darth Vader. I hope it's a complete, you know, shift in tone for what we're used to seeing him as, this lovable character. And I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah.
Do I think it could have gone to somebody completely new and it be generally better and more exciting? Absolutely. And I think Mads Mikkelsen would have been good.
Yeah, that would have been
for the record.
God, that would have been so awesome.
Yeah.
What a wasted opportunity.
I know. How about you?
I'm just so... I'm definitely not one of these people that's like so infuriated by this. Like, I learned long ago to stop letting this kind
Caring
of stuff...
that much?
Like, huh?
Caring that much?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really affect me enough for me to rise above anything more than a...
Yeah.
So from a yeah, I'm not like losing sleep over it. But I will say I don't like it. I think it was a bad idea. I think that the only people who were even excited about this were people who were there, who saw him come out, like the people.
We were
like
seeing Robert Downey Jr. on
Yeah,
stage.
Right. So even if he just walked across stage, bro, this is fucking awesome. This is fucking
That's Charlie-
Oscar-winning actor.
That's Charlie Chaplin.
So I think that it's something that is so... It's such a cheap fan service. It is like wrestling. It's a cheap pop. It's a cheap pop, and I just think that I think it was a poor tactical decision to bring him back. I agree. I do think that it cheapens the character. It cheapens Tony Stark. It cheapens the death of Tony Stark. If you're going to bring him back as some kind of like variant or some multiverse version of him. Just use different actors. That's the whole fun of the multiverse, is to experiment with, the Tom Cruise rumors and,
Right.
getting another actor in there. That's
Imagine if Doctor Doom was Tom Cruise.
right.
He could,
Imagine if
like,
he was anyone else.
He could be a bad guy again.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He needs to be a bad guy again. Tom
Please.
Cruise thrives as a bad guy. So
On screen.
yeah,
Might be a bad guy in person. I don't know.
I just don't. Yeah, I just think it's. Unless I could be wrong, and the entire internet could be wrong. That maybe there is an interesting story here, but
we know nothing at this point.
But the thing is, we do know the Russo brothers.
We do,
and
yeah.
we do know where the MCU has been going in the past couple of years, and we do know that. Excuse me, it feels like they're running out of ideas.
Well, and we do know how the Russos have been doing since their MCU run.
Exactly. So they have not proven to be anything more than spectacle and
Mediocre filmmakers.
yeah,
I'll say it.
Yeah.
I'll sit here in judgment of the Russos.
So yeah, it was just really deflating when he first popped out. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll say this: I would much prefer that we never see Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers just said, well, who is the most talented guy in our phone book? Mm-hmm. And they landed on Robert Downey Jr. and they're like, hey, would you want to just come back and now play Victor Von Doom?
Yeah.
That I'm okay with that. We never see his face, and the only reason that he's back is because they thought he was the best guy for the job.
Yeah.
But if they're bringing him back for some kind of weird fan service thing with this Tony Stark variant thing,
yeah,
or just to say like, "Hey, we brought him back. Look what we did," then I hate that. I hate all of that.
Yeah.
It's such a and I also want to push back on the idea that people are like, hey, welcome to comic books. Hey, welcome to fucking movies. These aren't comic books.
Yeah.
Comic books come out every week.
Right.
Of course you're going to run out of shit to write about.
Sure.
Of course you need to bring back characters that
Yeah,
died.
it's like Young and the Restless, like
Yeah, it just
if it's going on for 50 years,
and
you
you have to keep writing, and then you get new writers, and then you get new storylines,
right.
and then you
the
get
timeline restarts.
Yeah,
and,
of course,
yeah.
that makes sense. Why would you ever compare those two things and think you have a sufficient argument? These movies, Robert Downey Jr., like, people age. Characters that you draw don't fucking age. Robert Downey Jr., you can't just keep bringing him back because it's a comic book movie.
Right.
His character in the movies died. Let it die, man. Just let it go.
Let him go.
You guys are some of you guys are fucking children, bro. Like, it's just
Literally.
Yeah, zing. It's I don't know. It's like, grow up. Let there be some kind of stakes.
Sure.
Care about something.
Well,
instead of just seeing your favorite guy on your screen again.
I do think it's easy, and we talked about this before, but like the idea of comic book movies being its own genre is a misnomer.
Yeah.
Because comic book movies can be many different kinds of genres. It's really just a setup for a story. It's a story element more than it is anything else. So, I agree with you now that I think about it a little bit harder. These are movies first and foremost. They're about comic book characters, but the medium is inherently different.
Right.
So, and not to mention the fact that with Robert Downey Jr., unless they do go the route of never showing his face, which would be awesome. I think that'd be really smart. And everything I know about Dr. Doom is he doesn't take off the mask.
Right.
So that would be really cool. He can, we get the acting chops and gravitas of Robert Downey Jr. without the
fan
baggage
service of
the baggage and the fan service wink nod kind of thing.
Yeah.
And also, not to mention, like, storytelling wise, like, we have to reckon with the fact that that's clearly Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
How are they going to explain that to the characters who all know what Iron Man looks like?
Right.
Like, are we just going to ignore it?
Right.
Are they going to put prosthetics on him? What's the deal?
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a lot of unanswered questions right now, is all I'm saying. We'll see how that works out. I do have some confidence, a little bit more confidence than I would in a non-MCU Russo brothers movie, because it seems like they really lock in with this MCU stuff based on past results. So I'm in a very strong we'll see pattern right now.
Yeah.
That's my holding pattern.
Yeah.
I don't feel negatively. I don't feel positively. I'm in a very strong let's see.
Yeah. I feel negatively about it.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to go well. And I think this is going to be the death knell of the MCU itself. I think they're finally going to... If they use Avengers 5 and 6 as a reset button, this will be the reason. This will be like the big, like, okay. It's probably time to just kind of like really, really start anew with all of this stuff. But the thing is... Comic book movie fans have become too insane to please. And so this is what I mean. Batman gets reset every like 3 to 4 years, right? We've had 7 different Batmans: Patterson, Bale, Clooney, Kilmer, Keaton, Adam West. So that's 6, right? Am I forgetting anybody? Affleck. Okay, 7. So I was right, 7. So we've had 7 different Batmans. And a lot of that happened before there was such a robust conversation on the internet about these characters. By the time Christian Bale was cast, people didn't like that casting either, because he was British and like he didn't really show that he could be Batman.
People didn't like the Keaton casting.
People, I don't think, ever really like the Batman casting. I don't think they ever get it right unless it's Kevin Conroy. That's
sure,
it.
Yeah.
So all of that happened before we could have these conversations, before there was, whole entire subreddits with millions of people on the internet dedicated to shitting on stuff. When Heath Ledger got announced, everyone hated it.
Yeah.
They you can go back and look at it. People have talked about it. They made whole videos about how the internet fucking hated it, and now he's the
iconic
poster child for So nowadays we're just in this era of discourse to where if you tried to recast, people have already said it. There's you can't recast Iron Man. Thomas Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. was too good in the role. He was too iconic in the role for you to recast. Can you imagine if Christopher Nolan was so afraid to do the Joker because of how good Jack Nicholson was that he just said, fuck it. The internet's not going to love it. I can't do it. People are going to turn on it. I think that the Russos and Marvel, I think they're giving too much power to how these nerds are going to react to things. I think they're reacting too much. I think I could be wrong. The Robert Downey Jr. casting, again, could have just been them going, he's the best guy for the role.
Or we have a really good idea.
Or there's some big twist,
right,
or some really good idea that we don't know about. This is very
they pitched
early.
it to Kevin. They said, "Look, Kevin, we have an idea. We're going to bring RDJ back. I hope your pockets are very, very deep."
Oh, buddy, yeah.
Well, I should say, I wrote this down. Reportedly, Anthony and Joe Russo are coming back for $80 million.
Yeah, and
even more for Robert Downey Jr.
Right. He is going to be basically shuttled back and forth. People are he's going to be like a czar. They're going to be holding him up in a basket.
I mean, perfect for
throwing roses
for Victor Von Doom.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for getting into the right headspace.
Yeah. So
helmet space.
I think nice. I think if they're too concerned with how people are going to react to this stuff, the Robert Downey Jr. casting feels like they're too concerned with like they're losing their stronghold on audiences and on culture, pop culture.
Yeah.
And so
starts looking a little desperate.
It does. It looks pretty desperate right now, and that's the thing that, like, once all of this is said and done, let's say they had a good idea and it goes well and people dig it, right? Now you get back to, okay, but you still have the problem of you have to introduce new characters, or you have to get people to believe in young actors or new actors, or even established actors who are going to slot into these roles. You have to stop being afraid of the naysayers and just write a good story and get these actors in. Like Brave New World, I can't wait to see Brave New World. I'm so interested in what they do with that, because I love Anthony Mackie. I like, obviously the idea of him being Captain America.
Sure. It's interesting. Yeah.
And I also think that this is the first experiment with another actor taking the mantle of an established iconic role.
Right.
Chris Evans was obviously perfect as Captain America. And we're going to see how people react. And not just how people react to it, but how good is the actual movie itself? Like, if it's a good movie and people just shit on it because they're racist, that's one thing. But if it's like a bad movie and people are like, it's bad and Anthony Mackie's bad and they should have never done it, then it's like, we're going to see where the MCU is going with this kind of stuff and how much leeway they have to start recasting these things. Because they have to. If you want to talk about comic book movies as comic books, at some point, if you want to continue the Robert Downey, or not Robert, the Iron Man story, the Tony Stark stories, you just got to let another guy do it.
Or, and this is not going to happen, but I'm just saying, or you could go this route and do like the next generation of them with the young Avengers and promote them into becoming, as they naturally age as human beings, actors. Make them the new Avengers and like continue the story and have these older actors as mentor characters as they are in the continuing storylines of the comic books.
Yeah, it would be way smarter to do a young Avengers storyline and bring in young actors who could age with the roles than to bring in guys who are in their late 30s, early 40s, some of these guys in their 50s.
Yeah.
Because they're not, I mean, how long do you think these guys are going to do this?
Well, and they started to crack that nut with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
They got him young.
Spider-Man forever.
They got him young. The problem with that role is that it's also beholden to Sony, which completely gunked up the plans and the machine of that.
And Sony was just like, fuck you guys.
Yeah. And I mean, not to mention, obviously, all this was happening during the pandemic and yada, yada, yada. But it sucks because I feel like things would have gone a lot faster with that Spider-Man storyline and been more, I think, coherent, because I like all those movies, but for like them individually, they don't really fit as a coherent kind of thing. It's like, what's Spider-Man's adventure today kind of. So I feel like if they invest more in those younger actors, it would make more sense. Now, I agree with you with the Anthony Mackie thing being sort of testing the waters for recasting. But it's almost a step before that. It's like a half step, because he's not playing
Captain America.
Captain America.
Yeah, he's not a new actor brought in to play Captain America.
Right.
He's a very long established character in the universe, taking up the mantle.
Yeah.
But it is an official Captain America movie. It would be it would be the fourth Captain America movie.
Yeah.
So you're right. It is a half step. But it is going to be interesting to see how people react to that half step.
Yeah.
Because people already are like, he's not the real Captain America. Same thing with, Miles Morales. He's not really Spider-Man.
Right.
He's Miles Morales.
Which the movie itself does, a good job of trying to establish, like, no, they're both Spider-Man.
Right.
They're both called Spider-Man. They both call each other Spider-Man.
Yeah. And the other thing is, Miles Morales is a relatively new character.
Yeah. From the 2000s.
Yeah. Falcon is not a new character.
No, Falcon's been around.
And he's also been Captain America for a long time in the comics.
Yeah.
So it's also a pretty well-established character. So that's the other thing that always would bother me about people getting mad about the very obvious direction they were taking.
It's because they want Winter Soldier to be the new Captain America.
But why? What is more compelling about Bucky than about Sam? Why should he? What has he done to deserve?
Let me give you benefit of the doubt, okay? From the other side.
Okay. Because I'm about to get fired.
I know. I see it. Settle down. He is a superpowered human.
Yeah.
He has the mechanical arm. What was it, adamantium? No, it's
Well, now it's adamantium.
Oh, right,
Apparently,
right.
I guess that was a whole thing. Did you see that tweet?
No.
Where somebody was like, "Oh, they're about to introduce adamantium," and somebody retweeted it and was like, "Who gets excited about stuff like this? Like only a very small section of human beings would be excited about this."
No, it was
vibranium. Yeah,
vibranium. Right. Yeah. So
yeah,
those are. Oh, and also he was Captain America's best friend.
None of that makes him worthy of the mantle.
Sure. I mean,
Bucky died in World War I, II?
Two. Come on.
Sorry.
on.
Okay, sorry.
They're fighting the Nazis.
Give me a second to be wrong and then correct myself. I said it too.
Red Skull is literally a worse Nazi.
I said two. I said World War I, two, right? World War II,
3, 4.
New World Order.
What are we on now?
Sam has fought for this country time and time again. Sam was a part of saving
do you know
the
personally?
world. I wish I did.
Yeah.
Bucky
was an assassin.
A murderer.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, of course,
for the USSR.
He was under mind control,
Sure.
so I don't blame him for his actions.
Of course. How could you?
But I also would not put him on the quarter. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Sure, you're forgiven for your past crimes because you weren't in control of your mind, but you didn't. Sam put his life on the line for this country and for the earth. Sam would.
So did Bucky.
After.
No, in World War II, he put himself on the line.
Right, sure.
He was a soldier.
Yeah, he was. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
sure. And
he's got that heart.
People are going to hang their hats on that. But I think Sam is more worthy.
I think Sam is more interesting because he isn't superpowered.
Yeah.
And to see how he deals with the fact that he's, a step behind the super soldiers that are coming out and trying to kill him.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see. I think that was an interesting element of the TV show.
I think they just want a character who is superpowered. I think if they wrote it in there that Sam was injected with super serum.
I hope they don't do that.
I really hope they don't do that
Yeah.
either. But I'm saying if they had done it, I think that would be an easier pill for nerds to swallow. Because the black thing is already they're already like, all right.
Why isn't he called the Black Falcon?
Yeah, so we'll see what happens because as much as we talk about the oncoming end of the MCU, something like Deadpool and Wolverine comes around and says it's like that meme of Darkseid grabbing Superman's cape hold on a minute.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Because Deadpool and Wolverine, now officially in the MCU, decided that they were going to turn this entire conversation on its head by being the most successful R-rated movie of all time.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest openings of all time.
The biggest opening weekend for an R-rated movie.
They're going to crack $1 billion by next week.
The opening weekend numbers worldwide, $438.3 million. Unbelievable.
It is. If there was ever an argument to be made about how Twitter is not a real place, point to the success of Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah. Because if you listen to Twitter, you would think this movie was going to tank.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, real people do not go on Twitter and go, I wonder if I should see this movie.
Right.
It did $500 million worldwide in 4 days.
Yeah. And not to mention, a lot of critics, I mean, it got decent overall scores from critics. Like,
Yeah.
okay. Like I said, around the 70s, you know? But a lot of the most outspoken critics, especially on Twitter, are calling it like one of the worst movies of all time.
Yeah.
And as someone who's seen it, I don't understand that take.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I've not seen it yet. Adam saw it.
Yes.
Planning on seeing it this weekend, so maybe we'll come back next week.
Sure. You know, obviously no spoilers here, but it is an enjoyable time at the theater. It is exactly what I was hoping it was going to be. I didn't have like, you know, incredible expectations of it, but it delivered and went a little bit even beyond what I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
And what more can I ask for a summer blockbuster?
Pretty glowing review, all things considered.
Look, I think it's a good movie. I think it's fun. It's a fun time. It's exactly what you want out of a Deadpool movie. I think it makes Deadpool a really interesting and good trilogy of movies as a collective, and introduces and kind of celebrates the Fox catalog in a way that I wasn't expecting. So I think it's very clear that this is going to be a stepping stone to allow more of these like X-Men characters and, you know, the other Fox backed characters to now be in the MCU proper.
Yeah.
It's like an introduction kind of. And I think it does a really good job. And the only thing I hope out of this movie is like we don't get more Deadpool too soon. I think they should use Deadpool as like a Fonzie character where, you know, every once in a while he'll show up and like steal the show.
Yeah.
But I think you got to be careful with a character like Deadpool, because the reason we're seeing this backlash is because the character can be grating to some people, and I
don't know if it's
understand
the character so much as it is Ryan Reynolds.
Sure,
People have really turned on Ryan Reynolds.
But again, it's like Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
Yeah.
He clearly has a respect for the character. He embodies the character perfectly.
Yeah.
It's like a Robert Downey Jr. type role for him. Like, it's made for him. It's exactly the hater love. I mean, fans of the comic books know like there is a backlash against Deadpool as a character in the comics too, because some people are like, this is way too silly and irreverent and like self-referential and like you know, it's too navel gazy and like it breaking the fourth wall is like hit or miss for some people. And
when things get a little too wacky, I think people start to turn on it and they're like, all right, we get it, you understand what you are as a character, like all right. But I think that's just people being like really cynical.
And that's kind of what I was trying to get to with this review is like, it's Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, it's a movie you can't go into looking for the cracks, you know, like, because you're gonna find them. It's not a perfect movie. It's not, you know, it's not a perfectly made movie. It's not a perfectly written movie. It's not a perfectly acted movie. But even though the individual parts may not be perfect, the sum of it is still a good time. And I think if you're going into it, a Marvel fan especially, a fan of the other Deadpool movies, if you didn't like the other Deadpool movies, you're not going to like Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
You know, with those expectations, you're going to have a good time. Yeah. And I really don't see how you could not, based on that criteria.
I think that people may be looking at the success or influence of a Deadpool movie as like the torchbearer or what have you, as far as like the like dominating cultural conversation, especially as far as like film is concerned. And I think that worries a lot of people who think that, you know, people were celebrating basically this idea that we were like getting away from Marvel movies or comic book movies kind of dominating cinema, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And especially when these movies started not performing as well. DC stepped away for a little bit. They hit their reset button. They've got James Gunn now doing his thing. And you've got a lot of MCU movies underperforming. You've got Disney kind of rethinking the strategy. You've got these earnings calls where they're like, we're going to scale back and we're going to do like 1 or 2 TV shows, maybe 1 or 2. And you saw like film nerds, and I don't mean that disparagingly. We are film nerds, but I'm just saying you saw film nerds kind of dancing in the streets a little bit about the idea that the MCU or comic book movies wouldn't be the dominating conversation around cinema, right? So I think that there was definitely a lot of people that kind of, especially critics who saw advanced screenings, were able to kind of jump into the cultural conversation and be like, this thing represents the worst elements of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's awful, it's lifeless, it's soulless, you know, it's a commodity, blah, blah, blah. You say all this stuff and you're basically like gearing people up for what they're about to watch. And then in actuality, according to you and according to millions of people, it actually was just a fun time at the movies and it shouldn't be taken that seriously. And I don't know, we're kind of in this weird place where as people who are adamant and passionate about film and about directors and actors and people in the industry getting opportunities to make beautiful movies and challenging movies, and you want to see that. And so for example, we were looking at movie times to go see it, and we hadn't seen Longlegs yet, so we were talking about going to see Longlegs first, and basically Deadpool Wolverine
every half hour.
Just muscled everything out. So from that perspective, I get where people are coming from.
Absolutely.
That is definitely a problem. Part of the reason that this movie does $500 million is because it's like, well, you look left, look right, and there's fucking Deadpool and Wolverine everywhere. And
it will find you if you don't find it.
Right. And you got to seek out, I don't know. I get what people are scared about, the fact that like for a long time, for about 10 years, you had to like push the Marvel movies out of the way to see the Green Knights and see, you know, like the weirder movies. And, you know what I mean? So I get it.
It's smothering. It smothers the independent films. I mean, I should say Longlegs apparently is now I guess has had the biggest box office of any Neon release. Period.
Oh, sick.
It beat out what was it? The Korean movie. Oh no.
The Korean movie.
Yes.
Racist.
Sherry. What movie did we see again? The Korean one? No, Korean. The first one we saw together. Parasite. That's what it is. I forgot the name of it. I'm sorry. I know. No, it's a core memory for me too. I was gonna make a joke about it not being, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings. So, sorry. But anyway, it apparently beat out Parasite, which was #1 for a while.
That's cool.
Which is huge because Parasite obviously was a big winner as far as awards and stuff. So,
yeah. Okay.
And a horror movie. A horror movie.
Yeah.
You know?
And a horror movie. Yeah.
Pretty big. Pretty big.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think it can be overstated how much of a big deal it is that Deadpool and Wolverine has far exceeded the dominating like conversation of this movie sucks, don't go see it. I mean, I don't know. I can't state into words like what that means. Like it's just something that should be analyzed. The idea that millions of people online were just dogging this movie, just dog walking it, you know? And then when it comes out, normal people are just like, I'm sorry, I don't care. It just seems like a fun movie. It's got a Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, and what I know now is a murderer's row of cameos. I know some of them. I'm not going to say them on now,
don't say 'em.
But I've been spoiled by some of the cameos and stuff, and it just sounds like a really fun time at the movies. It's like sometimes you just want to tell people like, bro, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
And I will we can talk more about it when you see it, but it's not what we were talking about as far as like Robert Downey Jr. being a bad cameo or a bad addition, because it's just like, oh, remember Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah. Remember this guy?
Yeah, the cameos are more involved than that and have to do with the core storyline.
Yeah.
actually full-fledged characters.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's a good time. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to let people know. It's a.
She's still angry with
I
me.
know. I can feel her. That's why I can't concentrate right now. I'm sorry, I forgot the name Parasite. Okay. All right. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna drop that, but something funny that's come out of this whole Deadpool thing
Oh yeah.
is apparently a rejuvenated Satanic Panic.
Yeah. We weren't old enough for the OG Satanic Panic, so
no.
it's fun to be a part of one.
Born
now.
too late. Born
Yeah.
too late. But yeah, apparently some Christians are upset that Deadpool calls himself Marvel Jesus in the new Deadpool movie. And I don't understand why that's so shocking or sacrilegious, because specifically he calls himself Marvel Jesus.
Yeah.
It's not Jesus.
Yeah,
he's
he
not
call-
saying he's Jesus.
Yeah.
He's saying he's Marvel Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, and also people have been doing that for years. I don't know how this has become like a dominating cultural conversation, like how it's risen above the level of
He is risen.
He is. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe coinciding with the Olympics.
Yeah, because that conversation did kind of spur at the same time. I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but
Nothing is coincidence.
No, it's the liberal satanic cults that are behind everything. But yeah, the Olympics opening ceremony. Man, you got this on? No. Okay. I was gonna say that did not sound like
Didn't go in.
a shot. But yeah, the Olympics opening ceremony in Paris.
Buddy. Gay petty. Was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was brutal as fuck.
So yeah, it featured
Thank you.
It featured French.
Two of them on the floor.
Yeah.
No.
Two of them.
No? What are you talking about?
There's beer splattered on the.
Ready? Here we go.
Oh my god.
Kobe
Where'd it land?
On the floor.
Oh. Sorry.
in the puddle of beer you left.
Hold on, let me try again.
Is this funny?
The people can't see it, so they're gonna have to take your word for it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I made it.
Brick.
All right.
So
Gojira.
Gojira, yeah, which opened with what's her name?
Marie Antoinette.
Marie Antoinette, the severed head of Marie Antoinette, which is cool.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
So for some reason, like Andrew Tate and a few other commentators were saying, like, "Oh, this is disrespectful to Christians." And it's
Why
like,
are we listening to Andrew Tate?
I don't know.
You know?
I just want to be a real man. Teach me how to be a real
Be
man.
a real man.
I don't know why some Christian fundamentalists on Twitter decided to focus on that in particular. It was the violence or the metal music.
Yeah.
Really,
Well, there was some scene during the, I don't know if it was the dance sequence, but there was a scene that looked like the
Last Supper. Yeah, that's a different thing too.
Yeah.
It was a Dionysus feast or something.
Yeah.
Which makes more sense in the context of the Olympics.
Yeah.
With the Greek gods and all that stuff.
Right.
So
It's just really funny. It's funny to me to think about people watching the Olympics and going, this isn't honoring God enough.
sure.
This is disrespectful to God. Like, do you know what these dudes used to do?
Hey, the French are being kind of gay. I don't know if you noticed.
I don't know if you're aware.
They got some drag queens over there.
Gay. Yeah, it I don't know. We're in a time. We're in a time.
We're certainly living in a time.
We are living in a time where that kind of stuff can now, again, excuse me. It goes back to this idea that, Twitter's not a real place. The internet, these cultural conversations that take place.
but it does have real ramifications.
Sometimes, and I'm sure you're going to explain how.
Yes. The apparently one of the main dancers or people featured, one of the drag performers in that ceremony has been getting death threats.
Yeah. Well,
and et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah.
they've had to officially say, hey, if you do this, I'm going to call the cops.
yeah.
So, it sucks that such a weird and wacky place as Twitter and the internet can affect real people.
Well, that's when you put too much stock into this stuff.
Yeah.
Not to say that people, the idea of being bullied and just ignoring the bullies, I don't believe in. I believe in going on the offensive and fighting back. I do believe in that.
You can't, ignoring, unfortunately, only leads to emboldening the bullies to try harder.
Yeah. But I also think that, people are gonna create burner accounts, and they're gonna say things like "kill yourself" and stuff like that. And
unalive.
Right.
Unalive oneself.
Dude. No, I mean, not that it's a hill to die on, because
Sure.
it's whatever.
Not that it's a hill to unalive yourself on, but
I'm really just annoyed with the idea that people think you're skirting some kind of censorship by saying unalive.
Yeah, no.
Or when they say grape. It's listen, man, if you're talking about sexual violence,
yeah.
I think the censors are going to be able to pick up on grape
Maybe.
versus the other word.
Or SA.
Or essay.
Yeah.
Unalive. These things, do you think you're more clever than the algorithm?
I mean,
if
yeah.
they pick up on death and murder and suicide, they're gonna pick up on unalive as well. You're not
Sure.
smarter than these things.
The robots. You can't outsmart the robots.
No.
Yeah.
Wish I could unalive the robots though.
Yeah. Somebody's got to get that program, you know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So it's gonna be fun to see a new Satanic Panic going on.
Yeah.
Love it. Fundamental.
Well, especially when someone like Elon Musk, whose profile pic is literally him in a satanic armor.
Yeah, he's wearing Baphomet on
Yeah.
his chest.
Right. Is talking about this being so disrespectful to Christians.
Also, again, another instance of is there nothing more metaphorically apt than Elon Musk on his Twitter account wearing Baphomet armor in his profile picture saying, this is disrespectful to Christians. It's so disingenuous. And the people who follow him, they're not, as far as I'm concerned, they're not real people anymore. It's just bots. To me, it feels like he has created an algorithm all to himself to have millions of people respond to his tweets. And then once it goes outside of his sphere, and people, because he holds sway as one of the richest human beings on the planet, and as the person who owns Twitter, he does hold sway still. So once it reaches outside his bubble, you're that's when maybe it's cause for concern. But when you look at his actual timeline and all the stuff that he says, I mean,
Concerning.
dude, he's gotten to the point where, I mean,
His whole thing about his daughter is
horrible,
Jesus
horrendous
Christ.
stuff. Horrendous.
Yeah.
And then just the subsequent tweets have all been just worse and worse and worse. And it's gotten to the point where we've lamented how much we used to think he was
Tony Stark.
in real life. I used to think that, okay, maybe he's, we don't agree on a lot of things, and he's not Tony Stark. He's definitely not as smart as I thought he was. I'm at the point now where I'm he's not only not as smart as I thought he was, he's just dumb.
Yeah.
He's just a dumb guy.
Well,
he could have an IQ of 300, and I'd still think, but he's dumb, though. He's dumb.
Well, at least I think he is a bad person.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that he so clearly needs everyone's approval leads him down paths that are pathetic and can be outright evil.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the real devil, my friend.
And destructive.
Yeah.
Because he's so powerful. It'd be
Sure,
one thing
yeah,
if
yeah.
he was a guy with 1,000 followers.
Right. Well, he throws a tantrum and like the GDP changes a little
Right.
bit. You
Right.
know?
He acts like a guy who has 1,000 followers. He says things like a guy who has 1,000 followers.
That's why they love him.
Yeah, because he's just like him.
So relatable.
So relatable.
Cat turd or whatever.
Cat Turd 2.
Cat turd 2.
He had to make a new account.
Uh-oh. Not anymore.
All right. Anything else we have on the Olympics and Satanic Panic?
No, just that it was. I mean, like
Have you been watching the Olympics?
a little bit, and I've had a good time watching.
Yeah.
It's been it's been a good. Like I saw this tweet that actually made a lot of sense.
Did it?
It's like the Olympics are like the best background noise
Right.
of all time.
Right.
Generational background noise. The Olympics. But beyond that, like just catching random sports that you don't ordinarily see on TV is just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I saw kayaking.
Yeah. When you watch like javelin tosses and like
Yeah, I love those. The fencing was awesome.
I didn't watch the fencing.
Oh, so good. The women's.
I'm on my phone, by the way. If you're watching, I'm on my phone because I'm looking up the medals. Okay, I'm not
Okay,
just like
okay.
not listening.
Women's rugby ended in fantastic order. It was so good.
Yeah.
Literally, like the time ran out, and America grabbed the ball and took it all the way down
Yeah.
to win.
Hell yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff.
I've been missing the skateboarding. I really wanted to watch the skateboarding.
I wanted to
missed
see
some of that.
the breakdance. Breaking.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm interested. It's the first time they're having it, so I'm interested to see like what the format is and stuff.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how they score it and who they have scoring. If they don't have Crazy Legs, shout out to Crazy Legs.
Yeah, of course.
I met Crazy Legs. Did I tell that story on the podcast?
I don't know if you did.
Well, maybe
Breaking legend.
for a later date. But I met Crazy Legs and got to talk to him at length and listen to him tell stories about old school New York and
Oh, yeah.
hip hop in its infant stages.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He was one of those guys. He's one of those founders.
He would talk about core memories.
Oh yeah.
Crazy Legs. So if Crazy Legs isn't there, if he's not part of some kind of committee, I don't want to hear it.
I don't
And
know.
also, it's probably just going to be like Japanese 14-year-olds. I'm just saying, like, they
Okay.
are so good.
You mean for winners?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to win the event.
They're
like,
all
like Americans.
they're all the judges. It's just
right, yeah,
three
yeah.
14-year-old
I should
Japanese
rephrase.
kids.
Yeah, the people who are going to win is going to be the 14-year-old Japanese kids.
Could be, yeah.
Because like America, we just don't have the same kind of reverence for stuff like that
Sure.
as other countries do. Other countries look at our shit and they go, "Oh, that's cool." You know, Japan's got the fucking
we're gonna get really good at that.
what's that?
I'm saying that's
Oh
what
yeah,
they
yeah,
do.
that's what they do. Yeah, they look at us and they're like, "Oh yeah, I can do that."
Yeah.
and that's what's gonna happen. So it's gonna be, we're gonna probably not gonna do so well in that.
Yeah.
As of this recording, by the time you guys hear this, it's probably gonna be way dated. But if you're just listening to this and you want a timestamp, we're cleaning up as far as total medals. We have 30. The next best is France. I wonder if there's like some kind of like home court advantage to that.
Some home cooking.
They have 26 total medals, and then China has 19 total medals. So that's the top three right now. We have
Yeah.
5 gold, 13 silver, and 12 bronze. France has 8 gold,
Ooh.
10 silver, and 8 bronze. And China is in the lead with 9 gold, 7 silver, and only 3 bronze.
China.
So they have a better gold differential,
Yeah.
but we have the most medals. So,
Fair.
yeah, and then let's go all the way down to I think Ukraine has 1 bronze.
Okay.
So
Well, they don't. A lot of them have
yeah, I
been
mean it's
bombed
tough.
and
It's
stuff,
tough.
you
Yeah,
know?
it's tough for them right now.
They are
I'm
war-torn.
not shitting on them. I just wanted to go down to like the
And
lowest.
at the bottom is let's see.
I think it was.
Ukraine.
I think it needed to be said. Fiji has 1 silver medal.
That's cool.
Let's look at who only has 1. Argentina won 1 gold.
Azerbaijan.
Thank you.
Yep.
Sorry. They have also 1 gold. Slovenia 1 gold.
Serbia.
Uzbekistan.
And that's it.
Yeah, and then that's pretty cool though. Like if you're gonna be from one of these countries and the only thing you do
Is gold?
is just bring home that one gold medal, man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going back to Uzbekistan and you're like,
I mean, I hope they live like kings. When
they
get
better.
back. Yeah.
They better.
Yeah. I wouldn't take it off.
No.
I'd wear it for the entire 4 years until the next summer
They're
Olympics.
like, look, I'm who else has done this? I'm the only
Look at
person.
me.
Literally the only one.
Look at me.
There's nobody
Do
else
you know
here.
do you know who you're talking to?
Yeah. Kick open doors.
Gold winner.
I'm Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
Get it right.
Uh-huh.
You better buy me a fucking beer. All right, so that's fun. We're gonna, we'll keep watching that.
Archery
on that.
was cool.
Yeah.
Judo was cool.
The gun thing.
I didn't get to
Sharpshooting?
see the shooting. I didn't get to see the shooting.
Yeah.
But I am like, I can't describe how disappointed I am that America didn't even qualify. What are we doing?
Yeah.
How?
Well, we have the most. We're just not good at them.
We have no excuse.
We got all the guns. We just
Yeah.
don't have anybody good at shooting them. That's, nobody said that we were going to hit the targets. We just want to make sure that we're allowed to shoot at
Sure.
the targets
Yeah.
whenever we feel like it.
It's about quantity, not quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Can you imagine being any other country and you're looking at the U.S. Like I just feel like this isn't an indictment of the entire country, but I do feel like other countries are more passionate about like these niche things than we are. I think because we have such, and again, I'm not trying to say that this is a bad thing, but America is the land of the free. We have so much freedom
right.
to just do whatever we want that I think other countries are like, if you're going to get good at something, some of these people are like, I'm from Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got to get good at
Yeah.
this thing. If I am going to like make a life for myself out of this country, then I have to be the best in the world.
Yeah.
So when I perform at the Olympics, I bring home a gold medal.
Yeah. It's like we only have handball, man.
Yeah.
Like, we need to be really good at handball.
I mean, we have the greatest basketball players on the planet here in this country.
It's evening out.
No.
It's evening out.
So there are other countries with some of the best players ever.
Yeah.
But there is no one country
With
that
that
condenses
many.
them.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
So, and we still sometimes struggle in the Olympics
Yeah.
because of how free we are to be like, we're going to beat Sudan.
Yeah. Surely. And then suddenly,
Yeah.
what's happening?
Like, so I don't know, maybe when we get to the Olympics, we should start kind of like taking a second. Like breakdancing, we should clean up at breakdancing. We invented it.
It's like America losing a jazz competition.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
No one should touch us in the shit that we invented. And yet.
It happens.
So that's all I'm saying.
All right. Fair enough.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Skateboarding, breakdancing, shooting, and basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should get some cojones and start doing American football. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, they'll never do that. That is one thing that is a purely American.
It sure is. Well, Canadian too. North American.
Yeah, sure. But the CFL is still a notch below
Sure.
the NFL.
They're trying to spread it over to the UK sometimes.
their best, but-
they have the Jets over there last year
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah. Trying their best.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? We got anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Well then, let's get right into our cheers of the week. Obi, want to start us off?
My cheers of the week goes to going to the gym.
Going to the gym.
I have started going to the gym.
Going to the gym.
3 times a week. And it sucks. However, I've started to find the joy in it.
Okay.
Find the fun. Learn what works for me. Set expectations.
Yeah.
And have thus been feeling physically and mentally better because of it.
Good.
So, for everyone who's out there who lives a more sentient life, or sentient, what am I saying?
Yeah.
A more sentient, you think about things.
Yeah, you're alive, and you know you are.
Yes. What's the word I'm looking for? Not sentient.
Sedentary.
Sedentary. Yes. Thank you. More sedentary lifestyle. I challenge you to just pick 3 days out of the week. They don't have to be back to back. They don't have to be spaced out. Do it however works for you. Just go out there for a half hour. Do something. If you hate cardio, just go out there and lift some weights. Any kind of movement is better than just sitting down all day. And I am hopeful that I can stick to this and be healthier for the future.
We know you can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I found kettlebells being a lot of fun.
Yeah, kettlebells are fun.
Love swinging those guys.
Yeah.
I've learned one where you whip it around your head.
Oh yeah,
it's a good time.
Yeah, like those Iranian things.
Yeah. Exactly. I feel like Action Bronson doing it.
Yeah.
Sick. So I've been finding the things I enjoy to do. I haven't been forcing myself to do the stuff I don't like to do because I found like that leads to me not going. So I find things that sub in for essentially what I hate doing, which is, being on the treadmill for half an hour. So, finding things that work for you is important. Find what you like and just get yourself there. I promise.
Hell yeah.
Feels good, man. Feels good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. I need to do that too. I need to. Boy, do I need to.
I mean, your work has you on your feet all the time. So
Yeah, that's true.
just base level, you're doing good.
Yeah, there is that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I did the exact opposite of go to the gym, and my cheers of the week is going to Orlando Pop-Ups.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a pretty local one. If you're not in Orlando, you can skip to the beer review. But if you are, Orlando still has so much fun with pop-ups.
Sure.
There are people who are doing what they love, and you wonder about how like restaurants get started, for instance, or how breweries get started. Breweries a lot of times are founded by men and women who were at home and just had a passion for making beer.
Yeah.
And they followed that thing until they wake up one day and they're like, oh, I'm a successful business owner.
Sure.
And it's the same thing with like restaurants. You follow that passion up until the point where you're like, oh, I own a business now. Papalama is a good example.
Yeah.
Papalama is a Peruvian fusion restaurant out here in Orlando that now is the proud recipient of a Michelin star. And you know how they started? By doing fucking pop-ups.
Yeah.
They used to go to Red Light, where I work. They used to pop up there, and they were just people who were passionate about what they do. And now they have a Michelin-starred restaurant.
Brick
Think
and mortar.
about that. Yep. So the reason I bring this up is because the other day we went to Kaya, also a Michelin-starred restaurant, and they always do like a Tuesday thing where they have people pop up outside, and we went and visited our friend Sebastian with El Tinto, Colombian pop-up, and Christine, who owns Little Giant, a Chinese pop-up.
Yes.
So
Little Giant's great.
yeah, awesome. Both pop-ups amazing. And it just got me thinking about like what it takes to do something like that. I mean, I know what it takes. I've been on that side of it a little bit. I've helped people with their pop-ups. I've helped, people with like food trucks and stuff like. So I understand like on a micro level what it takes to do that shit.
Right.
But to do it every day, to be passionate about it, to have a goal in mind, all that stuff. You got to give it up to those people. You got to show.
Absolutely.
So that's my cheers of the week.
That's good.
Yeah.
And those are usually the things that like push the envelope in an area that's usually inundated by things that are not what they are.
Absolutely.
That's why they're pop-ups. Is like they don't work, air quotes, as a brick and mortar for a while until people go, wait a minute, I do like Peruvian fusion.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So-
And there's a lower risk because you're going like it's a pop up. It's just this cool thing.
Yeah.
If you dig it, that's cool. If you don't, then we'll try again next week with something else. Who knows?
Right.
So you can kind of, I wouldn't say it's low risk because you're doing it all on your own. So there's a little bit more overhead as far as like how much you have to put, how much comes out of your own pocket.
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
But I'll say low risk as far as like you're not at a restaurant that will close tomorrow if you don't come up with a good menu.
Yeah.
So
Less overhead.
yeah. And yeah. So it is fun to just see people get creative with shit like that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. We got one last thing to do, and you know what it is, kids. It's time for the review of this brewski. This comes from Escape Brewing Company. It is their other West Coast, an IPA with Centennial, Citra, and Mosaic hops.
Mm-hmm.
Obi, what did you think, good sir?
This is right up my alley.
Yeah, I thought so.
I love
You little bitch.
a good IPA, and this is a quite good IPA.
Quite good.
I'm gonna give it a 5. I think this is, I've had plenty of worse IPAs. I'll put it that way.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, this one, I do get those fruity notes from it, and it's almost like it teeters on the edge of almost being a little bit of a like a hazy kind of flavor. So I feel like if you're a fan of hazy but don't want as much of that, the overwhelming fruitiness and that kind of can only describe as like a soft flavor, go for this.
Yeah.
It's not overwhelming. It's very well balanced. I'm very, very intrigued about Escape Brewing Company now. I want to see more from them.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
I just noticed that the can art has this green outline for the west coast of Florida.
Yeah, the Gulf.
So they very clearly are saying the other west coast
Yeah.
is the west coast of Florida.
Yeah.
Florida is not the center of the universe, guys.
Well. Till it's around the sanctimonious.
Ron DeSanctimonious. Haven't seen him for a while. He's just been sitting back and writing bad legislature.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Suck it, Ron. Suck it, Ron. I'm also going to give it a 5. I think it's fantastic. Crispy, citrusy, hoppy, but not too hoppy. Well-balanced West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
Like this a lot. Grabbed it on a whim because it was in the Florida section of ABC, and we have done literally everything else there. And I was like, this looks... I've never seen Escape. I'd never heard of this of Escape.
Same.
And I wanted to do a West Coast style, so
Yeah.
was happy about that. So they exceeded expectations.
Indeed.
So a unanimous 5 for the other West Coast IPA from Escape Brewing.
That's right.
You think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, if Obi says we got it, then this episode is over. This has been the One Beer In podcast. For myself, Marco Dupa. For Adam Obesius Rodriguez. Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer. You always gotta drink delicious beer. It's great beer. Some say the best. And have yourself a beautiful, an evening. Have the evening that you deserve.
We leave the evening up to the states.